Hey everybody, it is Mr. Kamer coming at you from the same place I've been for the last 4 weeks, in my little studio office thing that I call my home. Welcome to week 4, everybody, and we are basically halfway through. I'd like to say again, awesome job on the second week of distributive property. We definitely needed that second week to tighten up some loose ends. Please be sure to check your grades in Skyward and to make sure that everything lines up as you want. If you have any questions about it, please don't ever hesitate to ask. Today we're going to do some one-step equations. Before I get started, I'm going to write out a couple of formats just for you guys to remember. You're going to see some problems like this. X over 2. This means that it's being divided, okay? So x is being divided by 2, division, okay? Also, you're going to see problems like these, 2x. Whenever you have, if it focuses, that'd be cool too. That button. If you ever see a number next to a letter without a space, it's going to be multiplication. So for this, we are going to multiply. Okay? Online, you might see that problem also written as x slash 2 or x over 2. Either way, these are the same, but everything else is addition and subtraction. But I just wanted to go over that formatting for you guys. So the point of one-step equations is to find out our variable. Now again, our variable is basically our letter. It could be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, blah, okay? Our variable is our letter. So what we're trying to do with one-step equations is find the answer to our variable or our letter. So let me give you an example. Before I do that, here's a huge tip. When we're trying to find a variable, you want to do the opposite operation. What's an operation? Well, that's plus, minus, division, or multiplication. Okay, so the opposite of addition we know is subtraction. Subtraction is addition, division is multiplication, and of course, multiplication is division. You guys know this. You've already learned this. This is really, really old stuff. But we're going to apply it to some new stuff. I'm going to show you. Now, what does it mean by do the opposite operation? When I look at my problem, I'm going to show you what that means. And I'll do that for you right now. Enough chatter. For example, I'm looking at one-step equations 2, problem number 1. It's x over 2 equals 4. Okay? When I have a problem like this, again, we want to remember, do the opposite. Do the opposite. Okay? Opposite. So now we're going to apply what I mean by doing the opposite function or doing the opposite operation. Excuse me. My first question I'm going to ask is x being added, subtracted, multiplied, or divided? In this case, from my notes just previously, x here is being divided by 2. Okay? So in order for me to figure out what the answer for my variable is, which would be x in this case, I need to do the opposite. So that means I'm going to multiply 2 times 2. Okay? If you cross out the bottom here, because they're the same number, 4 times 2 is 8. Okay? That is my answer. I'm going to write x equals 8. That's what your final answer should look like. Okay? Now, again, take your time. We're doing the opposite. Okay? Don't overthink it. Don't overlook it. It's just doing the opposite of what x is supposed to do. Okay. So again, in this case, x was being divided in the problem. In order for me to solve what x is for, I need to do the opposite, which means I multiplied the closest number next to the x, which would have been my 2. Let's do another one. Another good example is this one, number 3. 1 plus x equals 6. Okay. Now, if we have a look again, 1 plus x equals 6. The first question I'm going to ask myself is x being added, subtracted, multiplied, or divided? In this case, x is being added, okay? So that means we have to subtract. Now again, combining like terms, the two numbers that I can combine here are 1 and 6. So I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. Minus 1, minus 1. This is a great format to start with. And then I bring my x. I will teach you this format in class when we're all working together, unless you want to practice it on your own, but I highly recommend you keep it nice and neat, because this is where neatness counts. 1 minus 1 is 0, okay? All I did was subtract 1 from both sides because x is being added. So I'm going to cross these out. 6 minus 1 is 5. X equals 5. All right, let's do another example. I'm going to do number 8. You're going to see problems like these. 2b equals 16. Okay? Again, the first thing I'm going to do is ask myself, is my variable being added, subtracted, multiplied, or divided? From the notes I showed you previously, this is being multiplied. 2 times b is what that says. Now, in order to solve it, we have to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. So I'm going to get rid of the number closest to my variable by dividing it. 2. 2. And see how I'm doing it on both sides? Stick to this habit of doing this. And I recommend crossing it out. 2 divided by 2 is 1. That doesn't make any sense. We don't need to worry about that. Bring the b down. B equals, and then you have your math here. 16 divided by 2 is 8. B equals 8. Now, if you ever wanted to check your math and make sure you're right, you can plug your answer in to where the variable is. I'm going to show you that now. 2, and my answer to B was 8, put in parentheses, equals 16. 2 times 8 is 16. 16 equals 16. This is how you check your answer. You can do this basically anywhere you go when you do learn it, because all the math that you do has to equal a solution that's obviously correct. So when you check your answer, again, plug in the answer that you got for the original problem where your letter is in parentheses. You'll get your answer. 16 equals 16. Now I'm going to do one more. I did a division one, I did a multiplication one, an adding one. Now I'm going to do a subtraction one. We'll have a look at number 7. X minus 9 equals negative 1. A good key tip, again, write it out on a separate piece of paper. I highly recommend it, especially since these worksheets are so small. It doesn't give you a lot of room to work on. But again, as I was saying before, neatness is key here, or else you're going to mess up a lot of your signs. You could get some stuff wrong. So, what am I going to do? The first thing I'm going to do is look for my variable and ask myself, am I adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? In this case, everyone, x is being subtracted by 9. So what do I need to do? I need to make sure I'm adding the number with my variable. So x minus 9 is together. I want to add 9, doing the opposite, okay? Plus 9. Okay? Again, keep this formatting. If you want to practice this, steal this. This is so, so, so helpful. I promise you. And don't forget, you'll learn this stuff again in school when we're all together. And it will make a lot more sense when I show you all the tips and tricks because videos are kind of tough here. But X and 9, this will cross out because that makes 0. X, bring your X down, equals -1 plus 9 is a positive 8. How about that? That's all there is to it, guys. It's not so hard. And again, if I want to check my work, I think X equals 8 is correct. I plug it in. 8 minus 9 equals -1. Aha! It makes sense. I swear, people, it's not as hard as it looks, but you will definitely need to practice. For this is really tough online, but I assure you, you got this. Keep up the great work and let me know if you have any other questions. Reach out on the Remind app and keep up the great work, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week 4.